We're back here on Shoujo for season 1 finale of Chihayafuru, and we've got things to say. We've got our own kind of little competition where we're gonna rate them, everyone, characters, the show, couplings against our previous coverage. So stay tuned to the end for all that. Hot takes, or we're just both like, yeah, duh. Yeah, so, right, I should be like, I'm Sarah, your host, and the show is me, who is a kind of veteran shoujo viewer, introducing my friend Joe to shoujo, as he did not grow up being the targeted demographic, but now has the wonderful privilege of watching it now as a grown-ass man, and we get to hear from his perspective versus mine. Joe, want to say hi?
Hello. We're here at the end of season 1 of Chihayafuru.
That was the most scattered opening I think I've done. I do. I need to write script. I went all sorts of places and
it's really weird because I assume if you're going to listen to this podcast, you would start with the first episode of a season or of a show. Although our downloads, when I look at the RSS downloads, do not match that, which is very bizarre.
It's
but I really think it only matters on the first one. You know?
Oh yeah.
Everybody who's listening to this probably has listened to other episodes, so I think they know what the deal is.
Okay, the deal being hopefully. I'm a scatterbrain and try to keep up, everyone.
I still think you should do it every time, though, because I think it's a good bit.
Oh, what? Random?
Yeah, you doing the intro, but not having written it down, so it's just different every time.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, man. I know some shows will do where it's I'm Sarah, and I blah, blah, blah. If I was a character in the show, or my feelings as what I am for that week is related to the content we're about to talk about, but nah.
Yeah. I really should have, because I write the episode descriptions, and if you don't read those descriptions because I spend a little bit of time on that.
Yeah, they're so well crafted and fun.
They're not a lot of I haven't been able to find a lot of good Carta puns to put in there. Which is a little bit of a bummer.
I mean, none of us paid a close enough attention to be able to catch any of them.
I feel like I could have been incorporating some of the poems or whatever, but no one would know what those are, so I guess it doesn't matter.
Yeah, nah. Well, we'll get them next time. Those puns. We're just seeing how you guys feel with and without puns. Puns dependent on show, of which we'll announce what the next show we're covering is at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
So get ready for that big reveal. But first, Joe, you've been busy. So busy that you don't want to watch this crappy reality TV show that you're so not invested in that I want to talk about someone with. So what have you been doing in the meantime?
I watched The Fifth Element.
Oh, for the first time?
That movie? No, not for the first time. I've seen it a couple times. But it had been a long time since I saw it, and it's pretty fun. It's the costuming and the set pieces and all that stuff. That part's great. It's a really good. It's not. Is it a pastiche? I guess it's not a parody, because it is just a goofy sci-fi movie.
Yeah, I think it's just fun.
Yeah, looks good.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
My stepmom's last dog's name was Lilu, which I thought was a fun name for a dog.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a pretty good movie. What's that? It's what's the guy who's in a bunch of stuff? Main character, actor.
Bruce Willis.
Yeah, he's one that I'm nah, doesn't do it for me typically, but just anytime there's an actor in too many things, it becomes less palatable to me to have them in a movie.
Oh, you can't just not see action star Bruce Willis. You don't see him as his character, you mean? Yeah.
Him.
I get that with Tom Cruise. Where it's just it's Tom Cruise.
Yeah. He can't be anything but Tom
a lawyer,
Cruise.
Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. What else? Fifth or more thoughts on Fifth Element? You love the opera or crazy pompadour
opera
man
song.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just putting everybody in ridiculous outfits and then everybody just like hamming up all their performances is pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
I think they should make more like really just absurd movies.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of when the last time just like a fun movie like that was made for theaters.
I mean, that was like a little bit
done well
of the tone of what?
Done well.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like a blockbuster kind of thing with that. I don't know. One of the Thor movies was kind of like this, where it's like
Ragnarok.
Goofy and ridiculous, and it's like, yeah, it's one of the better ones. Yeah, nothing really comes to mind. Like a lot of stuff has been more kind of serious,
or it's like funny, but not in a like self-aware or like trying to present itself as like that.
Yeah, I mean, Everything Everywhere All at Once is pretty goofy in kind of a similar way. I mean, there's more serious parts to that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's pretty fun. I think you'd like it.
I like that actress.
Yeah. So I watched that. I've also been finally applying stickers to this Gundam I built, and oh my god, let me talk about a stressful experience that sucks. I hate it. I'd like buy special tweezers and I'm just like putting them on there. No, it's terrible.
I just want to watch you agonize over every little detail. And be
it would be bad.
Damn it.
It would just be a rough time. I don't think it would be good.
That would be so good. And that was just taxing. How long has that taken?
I've been doing it most of this morning.
Oh, okay.
Before I screwed up because I thought they were like water transfers or whatever. So like you put them in water and then you like put them on there and press it on there. And it turns out they were not. They were just normal stickers, but they were just printed weird.
So
and,
did
like,
that one
some
get
of them just
up?
didn't stick really well. So it's been rough going. Some of those stickers are not getting on there, but yeah. Oh well.
Oh god, what's it called? Rubber concrete. I'm trying to think. I can't remember anymore. In college, we had
like a
this
glue.
Yeah, where like, but you could like rub it off easily and redo it. Oh,
I see. Yeah, I don't.
That probably
I'm
would
just
be
giving
good.
up. I'm like, whatever.
This is pretty thin.
I don't really care. I am not. This is where I'm like, this is how I know I would not be getting into like painting miniatures or anything like that. Because it's just like, oh, I hate doing stuff like this.
Good thing we steered clear of that section of the convention.
Mm-hmm. Other people are really good at it, though. I mean, I get when people are good at it, but I'm just like, look, all of my hobbies are things you can fix. Like sewing, you could just rip it out and do it again, you know?
I don't like painting. I have an art degree, but I don't think I'm that like artsy particularly. Like, even when I draw, like I had this one class where it's like, okay, we're going to spend like a freaking entire week, which is 2 classes, each of which are 3 hours long, drawing these ferns in the campus library. And I was like 30 minutes in, I was like, cool, done. And then I was like, no, make it more. And I was like, what do you mean it's done? I can't like go more extensive than this is it. So I just kind of like mulling around for that week and drawing. Yeah, I'm just, maybe it's because it's like I can't focus on one thing for too long. Yeah.
You say that, and yet.
Okay, I don't understand, right? Because then I can sit for 13 hours and play one game. I don't know.
I mean, I guess you're not doing the same thing in that game all the time, right? Like you're doing different stuff. So it's,
or like
it's
progressing
one activity
within the game.
Right. So, yeah.
I don't know.
I guess that kind of makes sense.
I don't know. I can also, like, I stayed up. No, sorry. Keep anything else with you before I'm commandeering your section, Joe. It's the Joe show right now.
No, not really. I just mostly did those things.
Oh, okay.
I cleaned my apartment.
Ooh, nice. How often do you use that exercise ball?
Not that often. Sometimes I do, but most of the time I'm not.
Yeah, I feel like it'd be good for playing VR on, but then I'd be like, I can't have that thing there when I'm not using it. But like, where would I put it? It won't fit anywhere. The dilemma.
Just have it in my apartment.
Oh, yeah.
What have you been doing?
Not sleeping well. Good Lord. Okay, so Friday night, I went out with some coworkers because basically one of them was having kind of like a housewarming thing because it was his place, and then his friends were like, okay, we're going out. And then I was like, okay, I never go out. I'm going to like clamp onto their plans and go with them. So we all went. So we didn't go out to a place until 12, and then I didn't get home until 4, and then I woke up at 8:30, and then earlier in that week I woke up at like 2 a.m. and then today I like went to bed late, woke up early, so I had to take another nap like in the morning. Like I woke up an hour ago from a nap. So
are you just having bad dreams?
No,
you just cursed?
I don't know. I'm like had this medication for sleeping that like the first time I took it, I slept for I like took half of what like my sister and mom take, and I was like unconscious for 12 hours straight. So I was like, oh dear, I'll like get this for myself but take a quarter of it. But maybe I need to, and now I'm taking like half of it, but maybe I just need to take the full dose that was prescribed, and that will help. Because I just always have like, I just have like bad sleep habit. I don't know. Maybe I'm like thinking for some reason, what's today, Sunday? Yesterday, like waking up after being out and stuff and feeling like my tummy feeling gross from drinking. But I was like, I feel like if I, for some reason, that's when I was like, I want to work out. I didn't, but because I was like, oh, my stomach hurts. But like, I should start doing something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. New year, new you.
Yeah, because I was like trying to see if there's like any rec leagues or like, but I've never played a team sport really very much. And also maybe this is just because I binged I was continuing to rewatch Haikyuu a lot last night and this morning, so I'm all like amped. Sports, teamwork.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
I need to find at least like I wish I had like a friend who lived close by and we could be those chicks that walk around town lake just talking and speed walking. I don't got that. I don't have anyone also with nothing to do in their life like I do.
I'm sure there are many people who have nothing to do in their life.
Viva Las Elvis came out, and that was pretty well received because it's, you know, I think a lot of people were dubious of it being like based off a person, but it's really just based off like the Vegas era of Elvis. So it's much more leaning into casino and Vegas aesthetics than like one about him. So it's a pretty good course. I have these phases where it's like, oh, I want to play The Sims now, but that means downloading the entirety of The Sims, and I have a bunch of the packs that take so long and so much storage on my computer. And also, the game labeled The Sims Killer Inzoi is coming out in a few months, so it's like, should I just hang tight? And then I only play The Sims for like that one sitting that I feel like it, and then I uninstall it again, and then it's like a whole thing.
Yeah. I have that same thing where I'm like, maybe I should start playing Civ again because the new one's going to come out soon. So maybe I should remember what playing it's like. And that just eats up a bunch of time.
Trying to think of what's coming out that I'm excited about. Fantasy Life, which was a game on the DS that I'm hoping we can play together on the Switch. And then Monster Hunter
on the
Wilds.
normal Switch or the Switch 2?
The Switch. I ain't getting the Switch 2 because most games...
It's called the Switch 2.
Okay, well,
what a fun name.
It works for PlayStation, but that's because they like committed to that from the beginning. Xbox and Nintendo have both been like, let's just give them wacky names every time. That makes it hard to remember the order for people who aren't super tuned in. And we can't just now all of a sudden. That's like when Dragon Age 2 was named 2, but nothing else in that franchise has a number on it. Ah.
Dude, I like Xbox where it does add a number, but it's just not the next number.
Yeah.
It's just some other number.
Dear, right? 360. That's the last Xbox I had.
Yeah, me too.
That was a good one. It was a good one. Great controller. Still have a crappy knockoff Xbox 360 controller that I play most of my PC games through.
Yeah, the Xbox controllers is very good.
found a shoujo Discord. Oh, I should send you an invite maybe. I just saw it on like the shoujo subreddit of like a bunch of folks. It's like shoujo josei dedicated server just with all sorts of folks and stuff. So I'm gonna try and dabble in that and spread the word, all that good stuff.
I'm afraid I would get spoiled if I went in there. So
oh, that's true. Maybe that's a good way for me to like determine like what is it people would want to listen to coverage about. As like, because right, this is the first time I'm seeing like a like shoujo dedicated gathering, because we're all scattered about.
Yeah. Hey, TikTok got banned. How does that affect your work?
Well,
but also maybe
had,
not?
Like,
question mark.
We had like basically archived all our posts on TikTok, so like we still had the account, but we weren't actively using it for quite some time now when it first started having discussions of this. So it's not like actively doing anything. But I opened the app and it's basically just like we're working, you know, the president or coming up president says he's gonna blah blah blah, so stay tuned, and then it just force closes the app, so I just uninstalled it. So more so I mean for shoujo, that's where I was putting some stuff. So but you know, it's the same. Some people are saying it works again now. As Instagram.
I don't know. It's all made up. This is just Calvin Ball. We're just doing whatever.
Yeah. No. Oh, I have a date tonight. We'll see how that goes.
Ooh, that's exciting.
It's at 8 p.m. on a Sunday. Thank God I don't have work tomorrow.
Yeah, that's an interesting time for a date.
Yes.
You going bowling?
See. I just have no. That's like not what I would want a first date to be.
No, it's a terrible first date.
It's terrible because it's just you guys going back and forth. There's no downtime to chat because it's like, okay, your turn now. Now it's my turn. And it's like, I don't want to waste the precious hour we have on the lane. So no talkie, let's bowl.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Because it's all about the game. You're gaming.
Well, I don't know. Freaking bowling's expensive now if you go to freaking main event, which is where.
Oh yeah, some places are not that bad, but it's gotten expensive at certain places.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so just trying to. Now I have to deal with the whole like, oh God, now I have like this thing happening that I committed to. Now I had to like.
Just like a scheduled event.
Try and be in the mood to do anything at that time. Like, I can't guarantee I'll feel like it at the time, but now I gotta go.
Right. Yeah, no, I get that.
Yeah, that's. I guess that's enough about me. And you've got extensive summaries for these.
Dude, these episodes are crazy.
Finishing up.
This first episode is crazy to me. Because I got like hoodwinked on it, because it's like I thought for a second we were doing something, and then the next episode's happened, and it's like, no, we are absolutely not doing that thing. You're a fool for thinking this would happen.
Well, let's get into it.
I kind of got owned. All right. Well, here we are at the last 3 episodes of Chihayafuru. We are finishing season 1. This episode. So we're going to start off with verse 23, which is called "The Night is Nearly Past." We open on the end of last episode where Chihaya lost to Yumi. That's the last thing that happened, even though it feels like forever ago. Yumi reports her win by 4 cards, and her coach comes up and is like, "You did it. You're on your way to be queen again." And she starts immediately feeling all this pressure that she didn't like from before. But as she's walking away, she thinks that without that pressure, she would have run away already. So
can't have that.
I guess it's good.
You'll never escape, Carda.
You'll never escape. Chihaya exits the room and Yumi looks towards her. Chihaya cries and runs away, and Yumi's like, well, I'm not gonna run away like her. Which is just an incredibly funny thing to think. The rest of the Carda Club chase after Chihaya. She locks herself in a locker, and they're like, Chihaya, you gotta get out of this locker. You can't just sit in this locker. But then Pseudo shows up, and he's like, yeah, Chihaya, you gotta come out and shave your head, remember? And the Karate Club is like, no way, you can't do this. What if all the guys shave their head instead? And Kana's like, I'll even cut my hair real short.
Which it already is pretty short.
Yeah, like how short are you trying to get, Kana? Sudo was like, no, that isn't going to cut it. Then Dr. Harada shows up and he's like, what are y'all talking about? And he learns about the bet. And he's like, wow, Chihaya's an idiot. That's a terrible bet for her to make. And then he's like, anyway, hey, Sudo, how about if you beat me, or how about if I beat you, the bet is off? And Sudo's like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. So he takes that. An hour passes and Chihaya is still in the locker. Taichi's like, we can't just sit around here. So he sends the rest of the crew to go cheer on Dr. Harada while he plays. And Taichi's going to stay here with Chihaya. So they all leave.
Yeah, there is a part where I think, because like Dr. Harada is like, I'll do it. And Kana's like, oh. And then Nishida and Tsutomu are both like, no, I'll cut my hair, trying to be noble. They both totally are into Kana. Very apparent from that little.
They also both already have pretty short hair, so it really wouldn't matter for them that much, I feel like.
No, yeah. Chihaya's got to pay for her mistakes. She got to shave her head.
Nah, I think you could just blow Sudo off. He doesn't matter. Let's see. Taichi gets a text from Arata saying that Arata has won his third round match. Because his tournament's going on for they're from like the east side or something, or they're the north or something.
I think it's
they're the other side.
Different division, yeah.
But it's the same day. Taichi leans against the locker and tells us to Chihaya. She starts banging on the locker. And Taichi continues saying that he was going to give her Arata's phone number after the qualifiers, because I guess he hasn't done that yet. And I guess Arata never did that either.
Freaking dude, he told you to just do it. She was right there.
Well, she was right there. He didn't do it. He chickened out.
How is this different from the emailing you were doing before? I don't understand. I don't understand.
Oh my god. They're all so lame. Okay.
Stupid.
In the locker, Chihaya thinks about Arata and continues to cry. Eventually, Kana comes in to report that Dr. Harada and Sudo are about to start playing each other. So Taichi taps in the locker and tells Chihaya that they have to go cheer on Dr. Harada. She doesn't respond, and Taichi thinks that only Arata can help her. Then Chihaya opens the locker and is like, Taichi, we have to go watch Dr. Harada and Sudo play, because like they're going to be your opponents in Class A next year when you make Class A, Taichi. And he's like, oh my god. Also, he like fell backwards like onto her lap kind of because...
Romance.
Because the door opened.
Wait, but how? A locker opens outwards, not inwards.
It's how like a locker, but like
in there to open.
Yeah, it's like a 2-panel one, so you like
pull it
and then push it.
Oh,
because it's like 4 panels wide or something. It's really weird. Kana is like, Chihaya, Taichi stayed because he was worried about you, and she's like, oh. So then she gets up and helps Taichi up, and Taichi thinks to himself that he's hopelessly in love with Chihaya.
He said it.
This is bad. You're down bad, man. This is gonna go bad for you. This does not go well for you, Taichi.
Is correct.
You get so owned this episode. We cut to Dr. Harada playing against Sudo, and Sudo's like, dang, this old man is good. The gang watches from outside, and Taichi offers Chihaya his jacket because it's cold now. She's like, oh, that's okay, but he's just like, listen, just take it. So she takes it. Then she thinks about how everyone was watching her outside, and then she thanks the rest of the team for cheering her on earlier. Dr. Harada beats Sudo by 3 cards. The guys rush after Dr. Harada, and they're like, thank God you saved Chihaya's hair. And he's like, I did what? Because he had completely forgotten that had happened.
He was just there to win.
He's like, what'd I do? And they're like, he's like, oh, that's right. I remember now. And they were like, he didn't even remember. He was just playing. Dr. Harada tells Chihaya that she didn't thank Yumi at the end of the game, which is bad manners. So like, don't do that in the future. The next round starts and Dr. Harada is like, damn, this is hard on my knees, but he goes in to play his next match anyway. In a monologue, Chihaya tells us that Dr. Harada lost in the semifinals and that Hiroshi and Yumi won their tournaments. Chihaya sees Kanai at the like ceremony, and Kanai is like, see you next year, rival, which is a weird thing for her to say because she kind of beat her handedly. I don't know if I would consider that person my rival.
I guess just because they're both continuing to pursue the dream of being queen, and rival's a term of endearment between women, but Taichi and Arata, it's like war.
Yeah. Well, they're love rivals. I feel like that's different.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was just funny because I'm like, is she really like? I get why Chihaya is rivals with you, but you're not really with her because you beat her like pretty easily.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Chihaya is like, oh right, it's gonna be a whole year until we can do this again.
We're losers for the next year.
We're losers for the next year. God, it's so dour. We cut to Arata walking off from his tournament. Then we just randomly cut to some guy hitting on Chihaya at the train station in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
He asks her out, and she is all surprised. Then we jump in time to like the Karta Club, and where she told this to Kana, and she's like, "Are you serious? Like, just reject that guy. He's just some random guy. You can't agree to go out with some random guy." But Chihaya is like, but no one's ever asked me out before. What if this never happens again? And Nishida's like, how is it possible that no one's ever asked you out before? You're like super pretty. And Satomu is like, well, now that we've like hung out with Chihaya, she doesn't really seem all that pretty anymore, to be honest.
Yes.
Akana has to clarify that, guys, nobody asked Chihaya out because she's with Taichi all the time. They just assume that they would date Taichi. That she would date Taichi. Taichi for his part is just Taichi for his part is just sitting there and he's just like, whatever, like just go out with him if you want to, Chihaya. And she's like, oh really? And he's like, yeah, it's not going to work out anyway because you never like want to date somebody who never watched you play Karta before, so it's not going to matter. Chihaya is like, yeah, I guess you have a point, but he does keep texting me. And Kana is like, you gave him your phone number to some random guy?
Well, I guess she never was seen him again, probably.
Well, she won't after this next part.
No.
Taichi grabs her phone and then blocks the guy's number on it. He's like, here you go. And then he's like, oh, also from now on, wake up early and ride the same morning train as me. So this guy won't bother you. Chihaya is just like, oh, okay. And Kana is like, holy shit, and thinks about how Taichi personifies two of the poems about openly expressing your love. Too bad everybody else in the club's an idiot, she thinks, as nobody else is able to pick up on this.
I know. Oh, man. Okay, because it's like Taichi at first is like, yeah, whatever, do whatever you want. But then immediately he's like, okay, come with me. So like,
well, he's like, do whatever you want because this is a stupid waste of time and obviously isn't going to work. You know what I mean? He's just like, this is not a threat at all to anybody.
No. Yeah, that's true. Him.
So he's just like, yeah, go ahead. Waste your time.
Basically saying like, oh, if he gets to know you, he won't stick around by saying, oh, you can't date someone who hasn't seen you play Karta. She's so intense. But it's also like scare off a lot of people.
You only care about this incredibly niche thing.
Yeah.
So, like, if he doesn't also care about this, you have nothing in common. It's over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Chihaya looks at her phone and sees, and we see that she has Arata's number now. So I guess Taichi gave it to her. Good for him. We learn that Arata lost in the 4th round of his qualifier. Chihaya wants to ask him about it, but can't bring herself to message or call him. She can't bring herself to do it.
Stupid. Dumb.
We cut to Harada, who is frustrated that he lost his match because he's like was tired out. Because it turns out that quitting for a year messes up your stamina to play like, 4 games in a row or whatever. Harada decides that he's from now on going to treat every match like a real one and try to get back to where he was before. At Harada's Karate Society, he is matched against a child. The kid hates playing him because Harada is too intense. They play a game and he is too intense. The instructor tells the like Karate Club Society leader, like I guess whatever the equivalent of Dr. Harada is, that they really don't have any members of the club that are at Arata's level ever since Murao, the guy who lost a couple episodes ago, stopped coming to practice.
Mm-hmm.
We cut to Arata talking to Murao outside Murao's house. He like waited there for him to come home. He's like, Murao's like, hey man, don't tell me you came here to get me to go to practice. And Arata's like, that's exactly why I'm here. And Murao says, big talk from the guy who quit for a year and a half. Why are you getting on me for not going? Arata can't respond to this, so Murao tells him that he can't help with his practice. Then Arata pipes up and is like, I regret quitting for a year and a half. And if you'll regret it too, if you also quit. And Murao's like, he's like, you're gonna regret if you quit, because then you'll never make master. You'll never have your chance to become the master. And Murao is like, damn, dude, you're like really intense. Is the point of Karta just to become the master? Like that's all it is. I don't think I can play like that anymore. And then he tells Arata to let him know if he wants to play a friendly card game sometime. And then he goes inside. He's like, let me know if you just want to play for fun. Arata is left out in the cold, and he's like, yeah, I guess this is kind of out of character for me, but I'm gonna be back anyway.
Okay, I don't think I would like Arata or Chihaya. I hate intensity, and they're both so intense.
Okay, this is the point. This scene like messed me up because I'm like, oh, are we finally addressing that like only playing a game to try to be the best is like maybe not the greatest thing in the world? Like, isn't the way you should live your life?
Well, like the guy's like, oh, let's do, if you ever want to play for fun, hit me up. And Arata's like, no.
Yeah, it's like Arata decides he's never going to play Karta for fun again, basically, in this episode. That every match he's going to treat like it's a real one. And he's never going to play for fun. It's totally bizarre. And even Morale being like, this is why you've been playing Karta this whole time, just to become master. Like, I was trying to become master, but I also just had fun with it. It seems like Arata just doesn't have fun with it. Like, that's what he's kind of implying. He's like, dang, man, this is all you care about?
Man.
We're going to see how I thought this episode was going to be about this, and then it turns out not to be.
Let's see.
We cut to Kana and Chihaya walking to the challengers match between East and West. Okay, it's East and West. I think they were East, or no?
Chihaya.
Were they West?
I think Arata is West and they're East. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's two matches. It's Hiroshi versus some guy and Yumi versus some chick. We don't know who these other people are. Chihaya thinks about if she hadn't lost her cool playing against Yumi, maybe she could be at this tournament. Maybe she could have won. The game starts. We immediately jump back to Arata destroying that child who's scared of him at the Karta Society. The kid, through tears, tells Arata that he'll become stronger. He'll keep playing until he's sick of it, he says. Is that going to make you happy, Arata? And it does. It does make Arata happy that this child cries in front of him and says this.
Insane. Like,
this is like, I'm like, Arata's a villain, maybe.
Letting him play with that guy, it would be so discouraging.
It just sounds terrible. It's just like, they treat this like it's a good thing, kind of, or like, I don't know how they're going to treat this. This kind of goes unaddressed.
Basically, never quit is like the be all truth of this world. Quitters.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Will never be happy because they'll regret it, and
you'll never be happy. Anyway, their Karta leader comes in and tells them that in the challengers match, Yumi won and Hiroshi lost. We cut to Hiroshi, who's like, God damn, that was tough. He's like fanning himself. He's like, dude, we had to play 3 games? That's crazy. The guy I played was like, it's ridiculous. It's totally exhausting. He keeps talking while everyone looks on stoically. Like they're all like, oh, he's just really talking to himself to make himself feel better. But it feels bad. Hiroshi sees a stoic Dr. Harada come up to him and remembers that Dr. Harada's dream is to have a Karata Society produce a master one day. Hiroshi reaches out to Dr. Harada and they both cry.
Let's just put that pressure. Someone else has to fulfill my dream.
Man,
okay, Joe, you called this because you're like, they need to be doing like best of 3 things for these high stakes stuff. You were right.
Finally. Yep.
You called it. Also,
I did. Yes.
We see Dr. Harada in a suit. It's not very often that we don't see him as a little like Karta get up.
Oh yeah.
But he always has to wear brown. That's his color.
Chihaya says how it hurts now to lose, but she wants to look back one day and say it was worth it. It's at this point that I'm like, they make Karta seem like the most miserable sport ever. Like it seems like it just sucks to be around all these hyper intense people.
Yeah.
We cut to school because we're only halfway through the episode. That was half of the episode. We cut to school where Chihaya has a friend named Michiru. She has a friend. That one girl from the one gag episode where they do the recap and there's like a short gag. That chick was real and she's back.
I don't know if they're friends, or she's just like checking in, like, because she basically tells her like, I'm worried you don't have friends or whatever. So
they call each other by nicknames. I feel like they're kind of friends. I don't know if they ever hang out or do anything, but you know.
No, absolutely
Michiru's like, dude, I'm worried you're gonna spend your entire high school career playing Karta and doing nothing else. Chihaya's like, oh, I don't know if that's true. Michiru gives Chihaya a flyer for their class Christmas Eve party. He's like, hey, you going? And she's like, oh, but I practiced that day. And then Michiru's like, nope. And she announces to the rest of the class that Chihaya's going to be there. And also Satomu's going to be there. They're going to both be there. They're not going to go to car to practice. Go socialize, you losers. It turns out everybody in the Karate Club has like a class party or something to go to, or like event to go to. So they decide to cancel practice on the 24th. Like, you'd want to go to your club practice on Christmas Eve.
Well, I mean, it's right. It's always, we talked about this in Kimi ni Todoke, I think, but it's like in Japan, very much like a couple's holiday. So like, I don't know, if you're not in a couple, then it's like, let's just strengthen numbers, hang out together instead. Better than being sad alone at home. Yeah. It's just funny to be like, you would practice on New Year's Eve for your club. Oh, yeah. No. Crazy. Chihaya goes to the Christmas party, and all of her classmates are like, wow, she's actually here. You have good hand-me-down clothes. You're so cute. Yeah. And she gets to talk to some of her classmates. She talks to some boys from the mountain climbing club and is happy to have some social activity. She's like, this is great. I never get to talk to people. I thought this was so good because they're like, yeah, sometimes we just like race to see who can pitch a tent faster. And I'm like, ooh, Joe, you should be in this club. You love camping and assembling tents. Doesn't that sound like a blast? Yeah. It's just very goofy. Oh, man. We get a montage of everybody at their class parties. We see Kana being very specific about how to do hot pot. She's like, you got to put them in a specific order. We see that Nishida is good at bowling because my boy's good at sportsman. And then we see Taichi, who was invited to go karaoke with his class, but it turns out he's the only guy there, and it's just a bunch of girls, and he looks totally miserable. He was tricked. Poor guy. Satomu comes up to Chihaya because they're in the same class, so they're both there, and is like, I just talked to a bunch of girls. I mean, they only asked me about Taichi, but like, still, I talked to a bunch of girls. Isn't that great? And Chihaya's like, yeah, that's awesome. She says she's been having a good time meeting her classmates that she never talks to. And then she's like, too bad the rest of the karate team couldn't be here. And Satomu tells her that he read in a book once that if you wish somebody was there with you, they're like family to you. Ugh, and Chihaya's like, what could this mean? What could this mean about how I feel about people? I thought she was going to be like, let's get the gang together. I thought she was going to be, yep. Nope. No. The party ends, and she wonders who she wishes would be there. Then she calls Arata on the phone. He answers, and Chihaya says nothing. He eventually is like, is this Chihaya? Because I guess she's never contacted him before, so he doesn't have her number in his contact list. And he tells her that he's at his karate club's Christmas party, so it's kind of loud. Chihaya still hasn't responded, and then she remembers a poem that Kana taught her about once. She finally says, wow, phones sure are cool. They're like, Misty Bridges, because Misty Bridges was the poem Kana taught her about. And then she's like, anyway, good to hear your voice, and then immediately hangs up. Okay, so she has his number. I don't understand the communication of Japanese telephones. And like, yeah. Arata is like, what? And Chihaya thinks to herself that it's a good poem and then walks off as we cut to credits. Oh my god. We got a Christmas episode! Yeah, Christmas episode, Christmas. Oh my god, she just freaking calls. She just says some weird stuff and then hangs up. I feel like she doesn't even like him as a person. Like, he's just a figure to aspire to be, but doesn't actually want to talk to him, and doesn't like. He's better in her mind than in reality or something. It's so weird. Well, like it's like she's scared of him a little bit. You know what I mean? She can't have a conversation. She has to like not talk or either do all the talking. There can't be any back and forth. Like, she thinks of him as like her superior, kind of. Like, I feel like she looks at him through the lens of Carta. Like, is he better than her? Like, she can only talk to him as an equal when she's as good at this card game as he is. Yeah, that's true. Which is a weird dynamic to have, because I don't think he thinks that at all. I think he just thinks they're friends, but he just like is kind of an awkward guy, and also she's acting very weird around him. Because like when she sees him that one time, she like bows to him, and he's like, "Dang, we're not even playing a game, and you're acting like we are." Yeah, it's just yeah, friendship is a strange thing in this show.
Yeah, it's a little weird. I can't believe how owned Taichi gets. Like, he's
Sorry,
all
this
like,
is only the first episode.
This is the first episode, yeah.
Dear God.
So like this episode was crazy to me because it sets up all of these things that are like, hey, or like it keeps bringing up the question or like implying the question of like, is it good to dedicate your entire life to trying to be the best at Karada? Not just playing it, but like actively trying to be the best, right? Because you get the scene with Morale, who's like talking to Arata, being like, is that really all you care about, man? And then you get the scene where she goes and like, you know, everybody goes and hangs out with their classmates and they're like, oh, this is great. I could just like be a normal high schooler. Wouldn't that be fun instead of dedicating every moment of my life to like trying to be the best at this thing? Mm-hmm. And so like up to this point, it's all been the question of like, are you going to run away from Karada because you don't think you're going to be the best, or you're like plateauing, or you're not getting any better? And that's kind of the stakes have been so far. That's kind of the question that's been raised, where it's like, if you don't think you could be the best, are you able to like push through and keep trying, right? And that's how they're framing running away. Like, this is Taichi's problem. This was Yumi's thing. You know, that's kind of, and like Arata he was grieving his grandpa, which I guess he regrets doing. But that's how it's been framed up to this point.
Stop Karada, even major life events.
But I feel like this episode brings up good points, actually, where like Morale is just like, look, I mean, I can't keep this up forever. Like, I don't like being super intense all the time. I like to just play for fun sometimes. And you also get the other thing, which is like the class party, which is like making the point that there is like a material opportunity cost here for dedicating your life to Karada, which means that like you're not going to be able to hang out with your classmates and make friends and stuff like that.
High school does suck though, so I could, Yeah,
but I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like, Chihaya enjoys meeting everybody. Like, this is a good time, but this is like a thing that she doesn't get to do because she's like dedicating her whole life to Karada. And I just think it's interesting that this episode brings those two things up. Next episode, it dunks on both of those things like it never happened. But this one episode, I'm like, oh, okay, maybe we're going to do something with this in the future. Yeah. Maybe Arata getting a child to cry and tell him that he's going to keep playing Karada until it's painful is bad, actually.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be. I don't think the show thinks that's true.
Seem healthy. Mm-hmm.
But like, they frame that in such a negative way. I don't know.
Yeah. Do we want to move on?
Yeah, okay.
Is this another long ass episode?
Shoot, I didn't write down the name of the episode. Verse 24 has a name, but I didn't write it down.
It's okay. No one's gonna say anything. I assure you.
We open on Chihaya insisting that the Karada Club watch the Master and Queen matches today at Taichi's house, and Taichi's like, "Why?" And she's like, "Because you have a huge ass TV." And he's like, "Yeah, I guess." But there's a problem. Because all of a sudden Taichi's mom shows up because she's here today because the play she was going to got rescheduled or something. Chihaya is horrified because her mom clearly hates her for like getting Taichi to keep playing Karada longer than she thinks he should play Karada. Eventually Taichi is like, Chihaya, let's just go to my room, you know, where my mom isn't constantly looking at us. And Taichi starts to walk upstairs to where his room is, and Chihaya remembers long ago when Taichi didn't want her to go into his room. She's like, I'm having some weird feelings about this. I'm feeling a feeling as the OP plays.
Oh, dear. Yeah, his mom, man. Ugh.
His mom sucks.
Yes.
She's like a little gremlin woman. Let's see. Chihaya goes into Taichi's room. Like Kazehaya's, he has no wall art or anything. She's like, dang, your walls are bare. She immediately sits on his bed, and Taichi's like, God damn, this is way weirder than I thought it was going to be.
Well, normally in shoujo, she'd be hesitant. Oh, snap. Sit on a boy's bed? Scandal.
Yeah, like if you thought of him as a romantic interest, that may be something that takes pause. But if you don't think of him as that, you would just do it.
Yeah. What?
He gets owned so hard.
I guess. Was your bedroom bare? No, you had like wall decor in your bedroom.
Yeah, I had wall decor.
Yeah, I doodled you Young Justice characters and you put that up.
Yeah. I had stuff.
Yeah. I don't know what's up with these boys.
No personality.
I guess because like, right, a lot of the times their rooms, like you sleep at night, but then you have to like put away your bed in certain situations and rearrange to be just more of a common space. So like if you have a bunch of decor, maybe it doesn't work with both versions of the room. Like multi-purpose, only so much space. So you have to.
I don't think you do that for your room necessarily. Like unless people are hanging out there, because they have like common rooms.
Well, I think it depends. If you sleep on a Western style bed,
yeah, that's what Taichi has.
Yeah, so not in this case, I guess. Or never mind. Neither Kazehaya. Never disregard. Moving on.
Mm-hmm. Maybe Taichi's just mattress on the floor kind of guy when he goes to college.
Yeah, love a good mattress. Don't we, Joe? It's so comfy. What? That's
what are
all
you
I
saying
had to
me?
offer. Air mattress. You had to stay on air mattress.
I slept on an air mattress when I was at your place. No, that was fun. I'm just talking about like the college guy who only has that. He doesn't have a bed frame and like has cinder block stuff. I don't think Taichi's gonna be like that because he's rich. Let's see. Taichi's mom bursts in and is like, "You're supposed to keep the door open." And he's like, "Okay." Clearly nothing's gonna happen anyway. The rest of the Carta Club shows up. Taichi brings in drinks while his mom tells him that he should consider quitting Carta because all the other members look lame. He ignores her because he's like, "Shut up."
What the hell is wrong with her?
Dude, she's got problems.
Like, she's not ashamed to say it in front of him. Because sometimes it's like the guy has a mean mom, but he's unaware that she's like that. No, it's all out there.
Yeah,
everybody
he knows.
She sucks. She wants people to know she thinks they're that way.
Dude, Taichi's life is kind of sucks.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Ugh. The Master and Queen broadcast starts. Everybody's intentionally watching TV except for Taichi, who keeps looking over at Chihaya. We see Shinobu and Yumi, and Shinobu is noticeably heavier from the last time we saw her. Kana is like, "Holy shit, Shinobu's Hakumo looks crazy expensive. What the fuck?"
Yes. How much did they say it was? Like,
it was like $20,000 or something, or like $10,000.
Freaking insane.
Yeah.
Crazy. Everyone else is focused on something else, though, and we dedicate lots of time and back and forth to it.
Oh, yeah, we get it because she's, like, fatter now.
Uh-huh.
Chihaya notices that Shinobu has a Snowmaru handkerchief and pouch she just keeps around with her. Shinobu looks incredibly pleased with herself as she, dabs herself with the handkerchief. It's extremely funny. Nishida is like, "What the heck is that weird thing?" And Chihaya explains that you have to win it in a lottery game by eating ice cream. And Tsutomu is like, "Did she get heavy from eating a bunch of ice cream?" And Taichi is like, "Isn't her like gaining 20 pounds gonna affect her gameplay?"
20 pounds?
The broadcast.
Is that how much that was?
It's something like that.
Okay. I don't feel like that's enough to be that transformative.
Yeah, I mean, it's a cartoon. I don't think it would be. I don't think you can gain that much weight. Like, you just can't gain that much weight without noticing, because she also kind of acts like she doesn't notice it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. The broadcast starts with the Queen's match. So that means what happens, and this is confusing, they play the Master and the Queen match are both played at the same time in the same room, but the broadcast is only going to talk about one at a time. So it's going to do the Queen match first, and then the King's match, but both of them happen at the same time, which I say because one thing that happens in one is going to affect the other in a moment.
Mm-hmm.
So we start with the Queen's match. They give some background information about the two players. We learn the following things about Yumi. She's a grade 6 in Carta, which they keep saying, even though what the hell is a grade 6?
Okay, I made a note, because at some point in the next episode, they say, they have like a little text thing explaining at the top that Class A means you're grade 4, if you're in Class A at least. So I don't know how you gain additional grades but stay in the same class. Maybe it's just like to like track amongst the top who's the best, and it's just like number of tournaments you've won or something like that.
Yeah, maybe it's just like something like an ELO score or something like that, where it's just like, oh, this person is this rank, but like every tournament just has an open for A, because otherwise
there's not enough.
Maybe there's like a special tournament
level
or something for like only grade 5s, but like that's probably not how they do things. Also, we learned that Yumi is 24, even though they made her seem ancient for some reason. They made her seem like she was like in her 30s because she's like, I've been working at this for 10 years. She's 24. She also works as a bank teller.
She's so young.
Yeah, what the heck? She's acting like she's like, oh my God, I'm so old and decrepit now. You're 24. Shut up. And she works as a bank teller. Then we learned some stuff about Shinobu. This is what we learned. She goes to high school in Kyoto. Her high school does not have a karate club, so she had to practice with the Myoji Karate Society until she was in 6th grade. But I guess she mostly practices at home, leading to my theory that she has no friends.
100%.
In the broadcast, we see Shinobu do some practice swings, which Chihaya is like, oh, that's like really out of character for her. She never does that. Shinobu's like, dang, this Hakama I got from my grandma sure is heavy. Why'd I even wear this? My grandma isn't even gonna watch this match. Then we get a Shinobu flashback time. We learn that her and her mom had to live with her grandmother after her mom got a divorce. Her grandmother agrees, but says that Shinobu has to learn something. And I have to say, her grandmother refers to her as that girl, and I cannot stress this enough, but Shinobu looks like she's like 5 in that flashback.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was going to be like she was like born out of wedlock or something with how she was talking about her. Like, yeah.
Which is crazy, because this is like...
Her mom freaking sucks, too.
This is like the 90s? Like... Let's see. Child Shinobu's a little weirdo and not that great at anything. She does like playing cards, though. Her mom's like, you have to find something to do, Shinobu, or like, it's going to be really awkward living with your grandmother who's like a weird tyrant.
Well, yeah, the grandma's like, well, if she's going to stay, she needs to find something to do. And then her mom keeps trying to, I'm like, does a kid like need to have a thing, or is it just fine if they're like doing whatever?
Listen, the entire theory intense. Of Chihayafuru is to pressure somebody, is to cook somebody in a pressure cooker their entire life until they produce the results you want, and then you can finally not regret your whole life.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my God, you're so right.
One day, Shinobu randomly finds some karate cards in a drawer. She's like, these are really pretty, and her mom's like, you need to find something real, and she like throws the cards out. And then Shinobu runs to go pick them up, and her grandmother sees her with the cards and tells her there's a karate society nearby, and maybe she should just go to that or something. So it's like the concept that Shinobu needs to do something. The grandmother didn't have anything in mind. Like, it doesn't matter what it actually is. Very weird.
Maybe it's like, oh, if a kid doesn't have a thing to focus on, they're just going to be destructive or get into trouble.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, but like, I don't think this should be causing you stress to like find your kid a thing to do. You know what I mean? It's like the bad version of that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just like, we need to find her something to do. It's like, if she doesn't do something, then she's a burden on everybody.
Yeah.
We jump back to the present where the match has finally started. It's a best of 5. So now we're doing best of 5s. Let's go. Yumi's doing pretty okay in the opening couple of rounds. She stands up only after a few cards, and we learn that her strategy is to drag the game out as long as possible because Shinobu isn't that experienced with super long games.
Makes sense, because she's always like demolishing people and getting it done so quick that she wouldn't have experience in long ones.
Yeah, that's the theory. Shinobu is not playing her best, and she apologizes to the cards. She realizes that the Hakama isn't the thing that's heavy. It's her literal body, which I assume she's had for more than one day, so I don't know why this is a revelation. Also, it turns out that she actually ate all that ice cream instead of doing the normal thing, which is throwing it away.
Can't be wasteful now.
You can be wasteful, it's fine.
Okay.
We go back to the Shinobu flashback. She got bullied in school because she was obsessed with Karta. She would just like look at the cards all the time. Some boys take her cards and hide them all around the classroom. But instead of like crying or something, Shinobu just calmly searches for the next hour or so to find all of the cards. And in a voiceover, she says that she loves Karta and that Karta loves her too, as like one card they hit on top of a light like comes down to her. It's a pretty good scene. I really like this scene. Back in the present, Shinobu starts to stage a comeback. She does the thing where she swipes only the edge of the card, and Chihaya is like, oh my God, she's doing the thing where she only swipes the edge of the card. It's like she's connected to the card with strings. Shinobu starts to go on a tear. Chihaya recognizes that Shinobu thinks of the cards like her friends and starts to cry. Taichi's like, I bet she wants to practice right now. I bet that's what she thinks watching this thing. At one point, Shinobu misses a card, like she swipes over it instead of touching it. because a card from the Master's game, which is right next to them, hits her in the back. Shinobu thinks about how much she hates the current Master, and we get like a quick shot of him. Shinobu wins 3 games in a row and keeps her position as queen. Yumi walks to the waiting room and thinks about how her Carta Club must be disappointed in her after they all came this way to watch this match. She gets mad at them for having such high expectations of her, because, like, she did her best at everything. What the hell else is she supposed to do? She opens a door that's, like, behind the room that she's in and finds the entire club listening in on her. She sees them and cries. She bows to her instructor and she says that she wants to make it back here again.
What the hell's wrong with them? Why are they... Give her a moment. My God.
This is like nobody here has ever been a human being before. It's crazy.
Oh my God.
Shinobu is interviewed on her win. When asks what her strength is, she says that she isn't all that strong. Also, apparently she forgot that she played Yumi last year, which is pretty funny.
Yeah.
Chihaya asks Taichi if he has any cards so she can practice. Taichi ignores her while thinking that he can't dedicate himself to her because he has to try to win Master. He can't be having a love story. This is a show about being the best at Carta. What's he thinking? He's in the wrong
right
show.
Now watching. Like, I can't help her. You know, she wants to do this right now, but I gotta prioritize myself.
Yeah.
Instead of being a freaking... Is it okay to say simp? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Nishida turns to Chihaya and is like, dude, what the hell? You can't go practice. The Masters game is about to start since they broadcast them sequentially. You can't go practice. What the hell's wrong with you? Why do you think we're all here? She's like, oh yeah, I guess.
Yeah. I don't understand why she wouldn't want to watch them too. With how obsessed she is.
Dude, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. We see the current Master, Suo Hisaishi, who's playing against some guy. We get a montage of people watching this game. We learn that Suo won his first 2 games by 5 and 13 cards respectively, and one of the announcers is like, wait a minute, wasn't that the exact same scoreline as Shinobu's match? That's weird. And we get a brief cut to Shinobu, who comments that Suo sucks. She hates this guy. So was he just like mirroring their game because he was bored?
Maybe.
That's how I read this, but then they never comment on it. And he also doesn't seem to do that. Like when we get his he doesn't seem like that kind of guy.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's not dwell on it, I guess.
It sounds like a thing that like Pseudo would do or something, you know, like when you're just kind of screwing with the other player.
Yeah, but that's true.
Suo doesn't seem to think about the other player at all when he plays, because his match is next episode. We learned that Suo is the 3-time defending Master and that he still hasn't graduated college. Those are the 2 things we learned about him. And Kata is like, that's a really lame introduction. Nishida tells Chihaya...
I don't know why we're obsessed with the livelihood of these people so much. Like, wouldn't it just be about them playing this game?
It's so funny because like the women's one, they both get like little montages where they like take behind the scenes photo, like picture, like video. Like we see Yumi at work, we see Shinobu going to school, and then for the Master, they're just like, oh yeah, this guy, he's been here for 3 years and he still hasn't graduated from college. That's it. It's so funny. Nishida tells Chihaya that she should pay attention to Suo's game because she plays more like he does than how Shinobu plays. We see some of his game where Suo takes a 2-syllable card when only the first syllable was read and everybody's stunned. The announcer tells us that during an interview, Suo said that while there's technically only 7 1-syllable cards, to him there are 28 as we cut to credits.
Bum, bum, bum.
Yep.
Stuff.
Right. Yeah, we'll just go into the next one because it's just his match again. Verse 25 is called Moonlight, Clear and Bright. We jump back into the match. Everyone is like, what does he mean that there's 21 or there's 28 1-syllable cards? Somehow, Master Suo is able to recognize an additional 21 cards with 1 syllable. The announcer is like, his game sense is incredible. While every single person in the show who's watching this is like, his game sense is super lame. I don't know why they say this.
Well, basically, I think they just are meaning more his like personal style is lame.
Oh, yeah. It's extremely funny to me. This is so funny that we like finally meet the guy who's the best in the world at Carta and like everybody thinks he's lame.
Yeah. Maybe that's why he's not getting as much like deep diving. Like Shinobu's the better representative of what they want people to think Carta is rather than him. Even though she's kind of weird too. At least she keeps it on the down low in these big matches.
Yeah. Also, probably because he's the 3-time defending champion, right? So I bet they just don't have anything else to say about him. They're like, "Yep, he's back
That's
again.
True.
Still hasn't graduated college."
Here. Yeah.
Let's see. We get a scene where Suo takes another quote-unquote one-syllable card. We learn that he can recognize the card that's being read because he can hear the minute differences in how the card reader reads the first syllable. For example, this card reader, who he knows by name, really likes Japanese pronunciation and reads the word "like" differently depending on what the next word is. So he's like learned all of the reader's quirks, basically. Everybody watching this is like, that's crazy. Is he psychic? But Chihaya seems to understand and tries to listen real close as Tsutomu opens his notebook because he's about to become a hero. We cut to Mirai's house again. Or Moreau. What's his name? Yeah, that guy. The guy that Arata, who was like, I'm not going to play with you. We learn that he has 2 little brothers who are watching the same game as him. They're all watching the master match. And they're like, his brothers are like, that guy's crazy. And he's way better than you, big bro. Mirai thinks to himself that he really didn't put up a fight this year. And it's his fault that Suo was left alone. Like, he knows him.
I think that he like stopped playing because he went against Suo and like he was so demolished by him that he gave up.
Oh, okay.
I think is the implication.
That makes sense. Because I couldn't tell if it's just like he knows him personally or something, or this was just like, I left him like I'm not there to like play against him.
Yeah.
We cut to Arata, who's trying to analyze the game by copying the playing field as it's happening. He remembers some advice that his grandpa gave him, which was that the challenger is always at a disadvantage in these matches because they aren't used to playing in that environment. Arata tries to visualize what playing against Suo would be like, but he knows he can't take cards the way that Suo can. Suo wins his game by 3.
That's a good strategy. Sorry.
Visualization.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah. We'll have like be playing it out in front of him as it's going on too.
Mm-hmm.
It's good.
Suo wins game 3 and defends his master title. Suo's instructors congratulate him on winning, but they also tell him to actually graduate college soon. And Suo's like, okay. And they're like, dude, you gotta be more confident, man. He's like so bored or like dejected or something. He's just like, yeah, thanks. Okay. Yeah, I'll graduate college. Yeah, I'll do that.
And yeah, I think he's kind of like almost surfer bro vibes where like he just can't be bothered.
He seems kind of timid to
something.
Me. Like he's just like, God, I gotta be in this space and everyone's recording me.
But then he acts so or like almost trolly towards Shinobu in some parts.
Yeah, this is where I'm like, did he purposely match her scoreline? Because it seems like he probably could. He won really easily. It didn't seem like it was tough for him at all.
Mm-hmm.
Which makes me think that he probably did, because like Shinobu only wins the first match by 5 or whatever because she was like not doing great, but then she wins by like 15 or something. Mm-hmm. And Suo probably could have just won those both by 15 if he wanted to.
Yeah.
Shinobu's teacher congratulates her and asks her if she'll come back to the Myoji Society sometime because like everyone would like to see her. She's like, yeah, sure, I'll stop by when I got a little bit stronger. And everyone's like, oh, she's basically saying that she's not going to go.
Yeah. Dang, girl. Why? I don't know why she's like, or I guess that's the politest way she could reject them.
I guess.
It's like a strange method. I would just be more vague, like, oh yeah, maybe sometime. There's not like, I'm the best in the world, but once I get better.
Well, I don't think she thinks she's the best in the world. I think she thinks she's worse than Suo, and that bothers her.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
This is why she doesn't like him, because I think she knows that he's probably better than her. Which surprises me that there isn't like a Queen Master match, like exhibition match or something.
I'm trying to think, because if right, they say this is the only time to watch him play, so maybe he doesn't do tournaments very often, so there is no opportunity for them to go head to head.
That's kind of a bummer.
Because clearly, or is it like they can't compete in normal tournaments, but Shinobu, who's still in high school, can compete in school ones?
Yeah, that's why she was at that other one.
Maybe, yeah. Well, like, I don't know. They also probably live in different areas, and high school girls shouldn't be hanging out with some old ass dude.
Yeah. Let's see. Yumi's coach sees this and thinks to himself that the current master and queen basically have no teachers and thus can never become teachers themselves, which I guess matters. They don't seem to care. And then Suo and Shinobu take a really awkward picture together. It's very funny.
Mm-hmm.
I love that, like, this entire show is everybody, like, obsessing with being the best players at Carta in the world, and then we meet the two best players at Carta in the world, and they're both, like, weirdos who don't seem to like anybody else very much.
Yeah, yeah. It is good.
Like, none of them, like the societies that they go to. None of them seem to like their teachers. None of them, like, really seem to like Carta all that much. I mean, obviously Shinobu does. The other guy is just like, I don't know. It seems like he's just good at this. The Carta Club is all dour, I guess because Yumi lost, and
I think because it's like, damn, that guy's insane. Like, what? It's
they'll never
so
catch
daunting of a prospect. Yeah, that's why they're all bummed out.
Okay. Taichi's mom comes in and throws them all out. Everybody who isn't Taichi walks to the train station. The rest split from Chihaya, but before leaving, Satomu turns to Chihaya and tells her that according to his data, she has 21 syllable cards. And she's like, whoa, really?
Yeah, this is a cool little moment.
Yeah, this is a good moment. That's because Satomu rules, it turns out.
Play the cool music.
We jump back to Taichi. He calls Arata, and Arata is like, oh, hey, Happy New Year. And Taichi's like, yeah, man, that was a little while ago. Anyway, did you watch the Masters game? And Arata's like, yeah, I was trying to mimic the game here. When suddenly Mirai walks into the room that Arata's in, because he's had his card to society. And Mirai tells Arata that they're going to play together right now. I like this scene because this is the first time I feel like Taichi and Arata have, like, interacted in a way that seems like they actually are friends.
Normal. Yeah, yes. Yeah, maybe it's because it's like they do feel similar about Chihaya, and they've both kind of seen each other at their worst. Taichi when he was a kid, Arata up until recently. So outside of Carta, at least it feels more like equal footing.
Yeah. It was just good.
I like this. Yeah.
Yeah, because it seems like Arata was actually kind of eager to talk to Taichi. And maybe felt bad he didn't wish him a Happy New Year. And Taichi's like, dude, it's cool, man. Like, don't worry about it. This is good. We get more of this conversation after this other scene. We cut to Chihaya and Satomu at school. Satomu explains that Chihaya is good at 13 additional cards, depending on who the reader is. And he's also like, yeah, like, you notice that you're, like, faster at these cards, right? And Chihaya agrees. Satomu explains that basically every A rank player has some cards they're faster at. So this isn't like a, totally unknown skill. Chihaya looks at Satomu and all of his notes, and then she goes into her bag and gets some candy out and gives it to him. Satomu's like, I don't want this, but Chihaya's like, this is all I have to give you right now to pay you back. Kana sees Chihaya practicing reading in the hallway, like reading the poems out loud. She thinks to herself how she owes Satomu, or Chihaya thinks to herself about how she owes Satomu for telling her about her special cards. Kana listens to Chihaya recite the poems, but then Chihaya freaks out because she just noticed Kana was there. Kana tells Chihaya that she wants to become a certified reader one day so that she can read for Chihaya's queen match. And Chihaya's like, yo, that's awesome. That's exactly what I hear you say. Because, like, you have to be a Class A Carta player to become a reader. And Kana is like, excuse me?
Yes. Dream crush immediately.
At the Carta Club, Kana is destroyed. And she's like, not even Taichi has made Class A yet. How the heck am I supposed to do that? She sees Taichi practicing his swings, and everyone's like, wow, he never used to practice his swings. Taichi remembers the rest of his conversation on the phone with Arata, where Arata told him that his grandfather used to say that there are ways to beat somebody without having, like, the best game sense. You just gotta take cards faster. Taichi and Chihaya are about to practice together when Taichi tells Chihaya that if he wins, he's gonna burn all of her daddy bear stuff, and she, like, freaks out and is like, why would you say that? And Taichi's like, oh, I guess I can just, like, mess with my opponents, which is probably why Pseudo is such a jerk, huh? I don't think Taichi should do this. I don't think Taichi should become a jerk to get better at Carta.
Yeah, well, he's just trying it out. Also,
play starts.
Chihaya is easy
she's really easy to freak
throw
out.
off.
Yeah. Play starts and Kana is doing the reading. She thinks about how to read properly so she can pass her reader test one day. We cut to a teacher's meeting. The other teachers want the Carta Club's practice room for the concert band, but Miyauchi is able to defend the Carta Club. But then a man who looks like he's being puppeted by death itself is like, oh, they can keep the club if they get 5 new members. How about that? And Miyauchi's like, all right, fine. I guess we'll take that deal. But she is not very confident that they'll be able to do that.
It was tough getting 5 to begin with.
Yeah. The Carta Club members notice a note left under their door from Miyauchi. It says that they have to recruit 5 members by next year. or next year they have to recruit 5 more members. Also, their budget got increased to $300. Everyone is like, oh my god, 5 new members, how are we ever gonna do that? Except for Kana, who's like, hell yeah, $300.
Yeah, the budget was $30 before, so yeah, more kimono money.
We get a scene mirroring the first scene of the show where Chihaya hangs up a sign while wearing track pants under her skirt as we cut to credits. The credits are a montage of scenes from this season, and then after the credits, we get a bonus scene where Miyuchi is like, okay, Chihaya, put a poster right there. And Chihaya is like, yeah.
She's
and then we cut to her being like, play Carter with us next season.
Like, yeah, no, hate that. Hated that. Don't break the fourth wall, Chihaya. I don't want to talk to you, girl. You're crazy.
This is not the end of the show, says Chihaya. There's another season.
Yeah. Oh, man.
And then it ends.
Okay. Season 1 of Chihayafuru.
I can't believe Mirai comes back in and is like, just kidding, Arata, I'll help you be obsessed with becoming the master after watching the master, after my little brother said I suck. It's not going to be about, they're not going to backtrack on it. I just don't think they're going to, everything they set up so far has been like, you should obsess with becoming the master of Carta.
Yes. I mean, I guess so. Is this the most down you think you've been on a show that we've covered so far? Outside of season 2, Kimi ni Tsudoge, maybe? Or like not delivering on what you would hope that they would explore. I mean, it's our first and probably, no, Angelic Layer was kind of sports-esque, but
yeah,
I guess it's the closest thing we can compare a lot of these things to.
I think it's the most jarring because I think it's weird that they, like, especially in that first episode we covered today, where they keep bringing up reasons why it may not be a good idea to obsess with becoming the best. And then it just doubles down on it constantly.
I mean, I guess the show itself is only doing that to be like, no, you really should.
It's
like,
just weird.
It
it's
itself
like,
doesn't have the intention of being like, oh yeah, maybe, but
it just seems like, because like Yumi is burned out. Like that's what's happening to her, right?
Yeah.
She's burning out on Carta, and it's just like, it kind of it does the thing where it shows all of the ways in which she is, and then it's just like at the end it's just like, but you just got to keep going, you just got to keep pushing through. She can't run away because then she'd be running away like a coward.
Yeah,
it's just so odd to me.
I've definitely run away from things. I don't want that stress in my life.
Even framing it as running away, I feel like is a choice, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like Nishida didn't run away from tennis to play Carta, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's weird in that it keeps doubling down on that. I really do think that the other seasons have to comment on this because it just came up so many times in these last, like that is like the theme of the show is, are you going to run away from things that are difficult or are you going to push through them? But it keeps presenting like totally reasonable reasons why you would stop pursuing something, but it doesn't really give you, it's just like, but you'll regret it if you do. And I don't know if that's like, that can't be true for every single character. Like we have to run into a character in the later seasons that's just like, I just got tired of it.
Yeah.
Or like, what if we got like a scene with Suo where they're like hanging out with him and he's just like, oh, I just play card. Like, this isn't my whole life. Like, I also do other stuff.
Just not his homework in college.
Just not his homework in college. Yeah. He probably just gets like high on the weekends or something. I don't know.
100%.
Yeah. But I would be very interested to see like where it goes from here.
Yeah. I feel like one thing that's subtly, no, yours is on topic. Go ahead.
I'm just gonna say, this feels like one of those shows where like the first half is one thing and I'm like, okay. And then the second half could be something that like makes this one of the best shows ever, where it like really goes into that stuff and like really considers all of these things and like, does getting crushed by pressure good or not? Or it could just keep doing what it's doing and just be like kind of whatever to me. So I think there's a high variability about what I will think about Chihayafuru at the end of it. But at the end of this one season, I'm kind of just like, okay, like we've set stuff up. We haven't really paid stuff off.
Yeah. I'm excited for, well, okay. Let me, what was I was going to say, it's not like a focus, but in these episodes, basically, right, Taichi admits how he's feeling, and it almost seems like he's resigned. Like, he doesn't see, I'm right, okay, his love is just miserable, because first he was all like, being in love means you're like always on edge and this and that when you're with them, and now it's like, it just seems like he's like tired or like, so blasé about his feelings about Chihaya. It's such a strange.
No, I mean, I think that's probably the best stuff in the show. Like Taichi just like basically in like an unrequited love situation, and he just keeps having to go through it, even though he knows it's doomed. Like,
yeah,
it's so hard.
You can't
like,
just turn it off.
Yeah, it's hard for Taichi because like he wants to do better at these things. Like he wants to both win over Chihaya and like get her to like him, and also get better at Karna, and he can't do either of those things throughout this entire season. He gets no wins ever this whole season.
No. Mm-mm.
It's brutal.
Yes.
But you know, we'll probably make the later seasons better.
Yeah, I'm happy for Kana to have like a goal, because she's one of our more interesting characters, and this is like playing off her interests, and it doesn't have to do with winning. I mean, sadly, she's gonna have to win stuff to do this, but like the ultimate goal isn't like being the best at beating people, but just like getting to, I guess, kind of just represent the thing she likes so much. So yeah, I like that. I don't remember as clearly everything that happens from here on out, so I can't say if things will like live up to your hopes, or if it like doubles down on the sportiness and never accept defeat and blah blah blah.
Yeah. I mean, mostly I'm invested in Taichi right now, of like what's going to happen to this kid. Like, is he just going to get destroyed next season? Like, that would be brutal. I think they'll probably give him some wins next
most
season.
Tragic character ever.
God, it's so rough for him. He's so nice otherwise. Like, he was kind of a brat as a kid, but that was years ago. Yes. He's a kid, you know, whatever.
Yeah. I guess with that, do you want to start getting into our picks? The first one.
Well, here's a question. So this is like one of your favorite shows, right? Having watched season 1 again very slowly, has your opinion of it changed at all?
Yes, I think so. Like, because I think, because here we're like thinking on more things, but I think when I was like originally just casually watching it, I was very much more like, because I had never watched a sports anime before, so I was more into like the game and the like different ways of playing and that stuff more than like the characters or relationships and stuff. So having to like analyze it more on that end of things definitely makes it feel different. I don't remember, maybe like season 2 season 2 maybe is like even better. I don't remember like which one stayed with me the most. So I'm not sure how. I just remember really, really enjoying it. I've only rewatched it. This is only my third rewatch though. So yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense. I feel like over the course of this, we've gotten more down on Chihaya as the main character, specifically.
Yes.
I feel like that's been the biggest surprise to me.
Yes.
I mean, like, I feel like maybe we don't talk about enough kind of here is that, like, it looks really pretty. Like, the art is very good. And, like, there are scenes in this that are, like, really, like the one you mentioned where, like, Satomu says, like, she has 20 cards. That looks really good. I really like the flashback with Shinobu where, like, she talks about how Karda loves her and the card flies down to her. Like, there's a lot of really good stuff. And there's, like, you know, the action shots with, like, Suo playing and stuff like that is also pretty good.
Yeah.
It's just, you know,
I really like the music as well.
Yeah, the music is also very good.
Yes.
So it might seem like I'm very down on this show, but I'm actually like, I'm having a pretty good time. It's just like,
it's just harder to comment on the visual elements.
Be like, this part's cool. This looks good. You know? Yeah. Okay. We can get into our listings, our end of season lists.
Okay.
That we do.
I'm ready.
All right.
I got mine, I think.
All right. So the first one we do is what? Top 3 characters in Chihayafuru, the current show? All right.
Yeah.
Do we want to start
I'll
with
go
3?
First.
Okay. Oh, yeah, you go first.
Oh, number 3 and then count up to 1?
Yeah.
What's
your number 3?
Okay. Christ. I can only think in the other. You go first. Let me reverse order.
Okay. Well, do you want to do our number 1s then? What's your number 1?
Taichi.
Yeah, it's Taichi.
Taichi's my number 1. He's such a good, like, sympathetic, relatable character, but like not. And even though it seems like he's perfect, he's not, because we got to see him as a kid and, you know, like immediately had a bunch of character growth, and he's pretty. And I like the like smart memorization part of his playing of the game. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
And yeah.
He has the most
your top.
Like character arc stuff going. He's the most drama. I also like even his like Carta problems are like he's doing the best he can and he isn't really making any mistakes, but he just doesn't have any talent for it. Like he just doesn't have any game sense. And that's why he's bad at it. And I'm like way more sympathetic to that than like other kind of problem. You know what I mean? Like that's a very sympathetic problem to have where it's like, it's not like he's just not putting in the effort or he's not paying attention or he's not watching other people's games or any of that stuff. It's just like, he just doesn't, he just isn't good at it naturally.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's also my number 1. What's your number 2?
Hana is my number 2.
Okay.
Who's your number? Or okay,
we'll say more. Why is Kana your number 2?
Okay. Well, I mean, right? She, out of the members of the club, she has like the most, I think, interesting relationship or like meaningful relationship with Karada. Because it's like, because it's a thing she likes, or an element of what she likes that she can do with other people versus Chihaya it more being like a social thing, or Shinobu it being, well, social in like a different ways where it's the only connection she has. But Kana, it's like fun because she loves the poetry and the history and everything has meaning to her. And she's really cute, and I like how much more aware and sympathetic she is to Taichi, and her business sense. So I like her a lot.
Yeah, she has like a lot of good scenes, I feel like. But my number 2 is Tsutomu.
Okay, yeah. Nice.
He has the best Karta game, and it's because of him that it's the best Karta game in the entire series. That actually like explains what's happening and makes it dramatic and good. It's the most dramatic game by far. Also, his like collecting data is also makes it more interesting at like a macro scale of like why Karta is interesting. Like there's the different quadrants. Some people are good at hearing stuff faster than others. Like understanding how different people play the game is, I think, the part of the game that's interesting. And he's the character that mostly personifies that. And I think that's what makes the gameplay part or the Karta part of this show fun.
For sure.
What's your number 3?
I feel like I like Nishida a lot. I don't know. I feel like we haven't gotten very much time with him.
No.
So I may be remembering things that happened to come, but I don't know. I like his like kind of more gripey comments towards like Taichi's wealth, and he just kind of says things as they are, and he's athletic, and I like his hair, and I don't know, he's more relatable, I guess, than some characters.
Yeah, he's probably the most normal guy on the team, and also he gets to deliver some pretty good punchlines. It's pretty good.
Can I guess what your number 3 is?
Yeah, who do you think my number 3 is?
Shinobu.
It is Shinobu.
Right? Yeah, I knew it.
I like Shinobu. She's a little weirdo. I love little weirdos, as we all know. She went from not knowing the snowman has a name to I'm gonna win this contest to win a pencil bag. And it's like insane. I hope we get a lot more screen time with her next time because I think she's very funny.
Yes. Well, she's the reigning queen once again, so she'll continue being like the finish line for Chihaya. So I'm sure we'll see more of her.
This might be unfair just because she's like not in very many episodes, but I'm constantly being like, I want more Shinobu content. I want more Shinobu stuff. I like how she hates Suo. I like how.
Yes. I know she like heckles Pseudo.
Yeah, she hates Pseudo also. Woo!
Yes.
Who's your least favorite character?
The lady who says lucky when she gets a card is so fucking annoying.
Yeah, she was up there for me.
Yeah, I don't know. Chihaya, man. She's pretty.
Chihaya is your least favorite? That's about it.
No, she's down there. I don't know.
Wow, she was like my number 4.
Yeah.
Top.
What? Oh.
She was almost my top 3.
Chihaya?
Yeah, I mean, I still like Chihaya. Like, she's goofy.
Maybe Chihaya's sister. That one's pretty low, too.
I forgot she had a sister. Remember when she had family problems and they just went away?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, my least favorite character is Pseudo. Pseudo sucks. I don't like him.
Oh, right,
I don't like how he's introduced as somebody strong and then Chihaya beats him and then he gets to come back and, like, dominate everybody. It's like, what's going on with this guy?
Well, Chihaya is, like, the most inconsistent player ever, so
I guess
that's
so.
Also, like,
but it's
no
like
stability.
She beats Pseudo and then Pseudo beats Nishida by like 20 cards, but like Chihaya can't beat Nishida by 20 cards. What's happening?
Yeah.
Weird. It's just weird. I know they need to like keep another person around to be like a heel. It's just weird to introduce the heel as somebody who gets defeated and then later on is better again.
Well, that's what our main characters are going to go through too, where like they lose and then they get better. So
that's true, I guess.
He can have growth too, even though he's on his way out of high school.
All right. Relationships. Who's winning Chihaya's heart? Who are we cheering for? Are we cheering for Taichi or Arata?
I'm cheering for Taichi, but also like I feel like he deserves better than Chihaya.
I think he should give up on Chihaya. I want him to give up.
Yes.
Like,
I mean, but that's like he's been into her since he was a kid. So I feel like to him at this point, she's been like such a huge part of his life, even when he's not around her, that it might be hard to let go of that constant in his life.
Like, I know that Taichi's whole thing is like, I don't want to run away from stuff and it's framed like that. But I think I want him to come to terms with the fact that he can stop pursuing things and his life will still be okay.
Yes. Well, also, if someone's not interested, it's not running away to like accept that they're not into you.
Yeah, that's true.
Please don't be persistent if it's clear they're not interested.
Yeah. Chihaya does seem to like Arata, like actually, even though she can't think about things in terms of human relations.
No.
But she did call him. Yeah. That's who she called when she thought about who I'd want to be family with. Ugh.
Yeah. I mean, Arata's cute. He had a tough childhood.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just don't get very much of him.
Yeah, he gives so little.
Yes.
All right. You want to rank the shows that we've watched?
Sure.
All 4 shows?
Oh, God.
I mean, I guess we can split Kimi Todoke into seasons if we wanted to. Because this is only season 1 of Chihayafuru.
That's true. Okay.
I guess we'll update it. We'll just update it as we go along. We'll treat it as one thing.
Yeah. Okay.
You got a number 1?
I like, what did I like talking about the most on the podcast versus which one do I actually like? You go first. Is it Angelic Layer?
Yeah, my number 1's still Angelic Layer. I think, again, it's a fully completed one, which is kind of unfair to my number 2. But, I mean, I liked it better because it was fully completed. I don't know what else to say about it. Like, yeah, it was good. It had points. It made things. There were good action scenes in it. I liked the thematic content. I liked the characters. I liked making a big doll game to do medical technology. It was good.
I guess I'll say, like, because this is like manga-wise, Skip Beat's my favorite ever, and okay, I'll say number 1 is Chihayafuru just because I guess I am a sucker for all this sporty. I like the competitiveness. I like the art style. The there are lots of likable characters. You know, like we have a pretty big cast of characters that we get decent amounts of time with versus like other shows where like Angelic Layer, we barely get any time and we wish we had more time with some folks. At least we're getting like a constant interactions with everyone. And I think Karada's cool.
Yeah.
And Taichi's hot.
Yeah.
Big contributing factor.
No, it's good. My number 2 is Skip Beat. It's funny. It's good.
Mm-hmm.
I wish it continued. It's the most I wish that one continued out of all of the ones that we've had so far. Yeah, it's just really good. Put
it as number 2 as well, because it has a similar element of like it's the industry and like refining skills and learning different ways of doing things is interesting. It's like not stagnant because every project or character she plays will be like a different hurdle to overcome. And yes, it's hysterical. And Kyoko's our best protagonist, I think. And I love the manga so much, so that it's my best manga ever.
Okay. My number 3 is Kimi Todoke. It's a good show. You know, it has ups and downs, right? Sometimes like season 2 doesn't have a B plot, which really hurts it a lot. And season 3 has some stuff that I'm not the biggest fan of in terms of what happens, but the characters are really well formed. I think that's probably the best character work in that show than any show we've watched. So, and you know, there's some good relationships in that. So I really like that one.
Yeah, I'll put that one as my number 3 as well.
And then I got
Okay, sorry. I was just gonna say, like, it's just the one that like I felt the most watching it. Like when it was, you know, like cutesy and happy, like, you know, my heart would like, you know, soar, and then like there's sad parts I even like cried during. So like it made me feel the most. If Sawako's a good protagonist. There's lots of actual good friendship in that show. Probably the best friendship display we've seen
for sure.
So the
best like description of actual relationships that people have in real life. And then my last one is Chihayafuru. I think this has a lot of like opportunity to rise in the ranks with later seasons, but season 1 really is just like a sports anime. I just don't like sports anime.
Speaking of sports anime, my number 4 would be Angelic Layer. And I mean, it's like one of the first ones I ever watched. And I mean, I definitely, this is one where watching it to, you know, and talking about it made me like it more than when I just sat and watched it. Like the fight scenes are cool. I don't like the protagonist. I don't especially like her little friends. Like the coolest characters are the characters we don't get that much time with. Which is a bummer. Crappy ass mom and worst mom ever. So yeah, have we only done 4 shows?
We've only done 4 shows. I really feel like now that you say that,
Shoge took up so much.
Yeah, it was pretty long. I do feel like Angelic Layer is a good show to watch slowly, like week to week, and I feel like Chihayafuru is one that's probably good to binge.
Yes, very much so. Yeah, I think because especially with Chihayafuru and Skip Beat, there's like we would watch the episodes and I'd be like, dang, I wish I could just keep watching it, but I had to wait until next week. So like, you know, exciting and wanting to continue. Is not something I always have with shows. The
next one here we have is couples. I don't think Chihayafuru introduced any couples that would rank.
Taichi and his girlfriend.
Taichi, no, his girlfriend he breaks up with on the phone. Are there any potential couples that you would rank on this? I don't even think the potential couples are very good.
Maybe Kana and Nishida.
They never interact though.
No, I know, but well, she's so not interested in any of them.
No, she doesn't care.
Yeah, we barely get, basically it's like implied feelings and that's it. Nothing else romantic. Nothing acted upon. Nothing revealed.
No.
Main chick not even aware. So yeah. I think, and we've already discussed couples, I guess, up to this point, but because most Kimi ni Todoke, that's the one, basically.
Yeah, that one has the best ones.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to update those rankings at all.
No.
Openings.
I
think Chihayafuru might have the best opening.
Yeah, I feel like
it only has
I
one.
like the song of. Yeah, I mean, because I would say Angelic Layer probably has visually the most interesting, but I don't like the song.
Yeah.
I like the song of Kimi ni Todoke's openings, but it's uninteresting
the visuals. Are so bad. Yeah.
Skip beat, kind of whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think Chihayafuru is the best
pretty.
Ones.
Yeah, all the nice like Hakama texture backgrounds.
Yeah.
And,
it's not like outstanding. Like the song isn't outstanding and the visuals aren't outstanding, but they're both good. So I think that beats out the other ones that are kind of lopsided. Let's see. We have season finales. We should probably just wait until we get to the actual series finale of Chihayafuru.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was pretty
These
nothing. School uniforms.
Also throwaways, just like Skip Beat.
I liked it more than Skip Beats.
I'm trying. What do we ever see the winter? It's just like a cream color blazer, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like it's not memorable. I can't even remember.
It's not memorable.
What the...
They're not striking at all, particularly.
No.
So, not. We'll give these a thumb sideways, I guess. Like whatever. Ranking our 4 main characters.
Dear God. I mean,
number 1.
Okay, I like her. Kyoko, number 1, best
obviously.
main character.
All right, number 2. Do we have the same one? Is it Sawako?
Sawako?
Yeah, Sawako.
Yeah, from
3.
Kimi ni Todoke. I would say Chihaya.
Yeah, Chihaya is,
She's more interesting. Misaki's just kind of boring.
She's kind of just a template. Like, she's kind of just an archetype, right?
Yeah.
Like, she's just like a main character girl, like girl main character.
Yes.
So I feel like she should always come last unless somebody is worse than like a neutral. But yeah, Chihaya is pretty low.
Yeah.
I don't like how her trait is being childish. That's not my favorite trait for a main character.
I don't like that where she gets to be exempt from any character growth.
Yeah.
All
right. Should we do the real ranking? We're gonna rank all the best side characters. So like the number 1 of each show against each other.
It's so tough.
It's tough. So I think who are the number 1s from each show, right? I think we did Hitoko from Angelic Layer.
Yes. Yeah.
I guess it's not just the one from every layer, but like these are the contenders. I think that's the only Angelic Layer one that's really a contender.
From Kimi ni Todoke.
Yeah, we have Ayane and we have Kurumi, and maybe we have Chizu. I don't know. It depends on what your opinion is. And then Skip Beat. It's kind of just Moko.
Yeah.
And then from Chihaya, it's, I guess our top 2s.
Taichi.
So Taichi and maybe Kana and maybe Tsutomu for me. I don't know. How are you ranking them?
I would put Skip Beat at the bottom just because we haven't had very much time with Moko.
Yeah, Moko at the bottom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like she's cool, but for what everyone has seen so far, we don't know that much about her. And we only get to see her interact with Kyoko, so it's like we don't get to really see how we feel about her when she's not with her, because we love Kyoko, so by proxy she becomes likable.
I agree.
Yeah, that's your
number whatever one. I guess we're starting from the bottom.
4. Yeah.
You want to start from the top?
Or is it just show by best? Okay.
Yeah, I know, but let's go to the top. I get that one, but I think it'll be easier to think top down.
God. Okay.
Mine's the same.
Withholding, it is. Okay. Yeah. I was gonna say withholding season 3. I really like Ayane from Kimi ni Todoke.
Yeah.
So I would put her and Kurumi up at the top.
Okay.
Or you love Hitoko?
Oh, I'm still in Hitoko. I'm still in Hitoko's camp. Hitoko's great. For me, it's Hitoko and then Ayane, and then Yeah, I guess Kurumi. Well, no, maybe and then Taichi.
I'd put Taichi number 3.
Maybe Taichi number 3. Yeah, that sounds pretty good actually. And then Kurumi.
I put Hatoko and then Moko.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah. So I guess that's kind of
that's our rankings.
What we're feeling right now. I need to start making like actual graphics to represent these that I can post on our socials or something.
Yeah.
But let us know what you guys think either through our email shoujopod@gmail.com, or you can DM or comment on Instagram, TikTok out, Instagram is it, and or how else can they get us to see what they're thinking, Joe?
Emails? What do you mean?
I have consumed your segment. Reviews.
Oh, well, you can't. We're not going to answer reviews, but yeah, you can leave a review if you want.
Well, we'll see what you think.
Yeah. That's true. Well, yeah, you can leave a review on your podcast platform of choice. Please do that. It's a good way to spread the show. It's a good way for us to understand and get your feedback. Please rate us 5 stars. If you have other feedback, you can email us or something. Don't rate us lower than 5 stars. Make sure to do that because we've been sitting at a certain amount of ratings for a while. It'd be nice if we could get that up a little bit.
Our birthday gift for anniversary of Shoujo podcast, February 11th. Almost there. 1 year almost. And we've been consistent as hell. Weekly, at least. May slip a few days.
So do we want to announce our next show?
Oh, yeah. For the first time ever in Shoujo history, we are covering a series that neither me or Joe have watched. So that'll be interesting. And it's also like a genre standard, kind of classic. Roses of Versailles.
The Rose of Versailles.
Rose of Versailles. Which, yeah, Joe, you might be a little more familiar if you want to.
Yeah, this is my poll. So, this is The Rose of Versailles is an anime adaptation of a manga that is very important historically because it is one of the kind of first shoujo manga that got popular that had an ongoing storyline. Because like originally shoujo manga is kind of these 4-panel comics or like these, short comics, like week to week kind of thing. Like you'd seen like a newspaper, that kind of thing. This is the first kind of, or not the first, but one of the first continuous storylines, has plots, has characters. Yeah, it's serialized. That's the word I'm looking for. Thank you. It was extremely popular it came out in the 70s, I believe. Yeah. Believe that's true.
Old as hell. Oldest series we've covered.
The first volume was published in 1972. So it was extremely kind of important in terms of like the industry the manga is. We are going to watch the anime adaptation that's from 79 to 80. So it's, this is an old show.
So old.
It is available to watch on Plex, on Pluto TV, on Sling TV, on Crackle, on Amazon Prime. It's kind of any of those like free with ads kind of streaming services. That's what it's on. So it's not on Crunchyroll, but it is on those other things. So you should be able to watch those. We are going to cover the entire series. I believe we're going to start with 2 episodes and then go to 3 if it is easy. There's 40 episodes total.
Okay.
So we'll see how difficult it is or how much stuff we have to say. This is kind of normally how we do it. We start with 2, and if it's easy enough to summarize or we can do it kind of quickly, we'll jump to 3 to kind of speed things up a little bit. I'm very excited for this because this is one of the first kind of, shoujo things that's going to be the source of a lot of genre conventions. That we're going to see in later stuff. And we probably have already seen in later stuff. So I'm excited for that. I like watching old anime. Sarah, you're going to have to push through.
I've watched a select few old ones. I don't think I've gone back as far as the 70s, but it'll be interesting. It'll be good for me as a anime viewer to be more familiar with the shows that paved the way for shoujo, which has now died. Sadly, their legacy wasn't enough to keep it going for the rest of time.
Yeah. Well, so Studio Mappa did make a movie version, a movie remake of some part of it. I don't know how much of it it's supposed to cover. That is supposed to premiere in like a week or something. So this is relevant. You may watch this movie, and there's going to be, we might watch the movie after we cover it at some point later in the future.
Yeah.
And see what's different and what's not. And I'm excited.
Yeah. Woo. Okay, so look forward to that. It's going to be a ride for all of us.
That's right.
It's Girls Love? Not Girls Love. Is it?
I don't know how to look that up.
Okay.
Themes and analysis.
Without spoiling everything.
The themes and analysis section in Wikipedia has sexuality, historicity, and feminism and gender as the 3 subsections. So I think we're going to be in it. I think we're going to talk about girls. I think we're going to be talking about gender.
Joe's going to go off in this show.
Freaking
talking all the deep stuff.
The drill tweet. This whole thing reeks of gender. Yeah.
It'll be good.
There's a musical adaptation. Sorry. There's a live action film.
Oh no.
Called Lady Oscar.
Oh boy. Oh, I feel like I've heard of that. English
language romantic historical drama film. Wait, this was what?
What?
This was directed by a Frenchman. This isn't even Japanese.
Oh.
It's an adaptation of it. That's crazy.
Well, I'm hoping if I like it, there's sweet new edition of the manga. Hardcover, all that are in
looks cool.
Barnes and Nobles and books. So, like, maybe if I like it, I'll get that.
I've also been ooh, I kind of want to get those because they look really nice. The republishes, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm in trouble here. I am out of bookcase room, and I don't have room for more bookcases. So that settles it. I got to move to a bigger floor plan.
That's right.
When my lease is up.
It's the only solution.
More books. Yes. Yeah, so I guess that's what we've got for you this week. This one was a little longer for all the app discussions and rankings.
Yep.
So thanks for listening. Look forward to, I don't know if you want to wait and see how our coverage is and then try watching the show, or just
you should watch along.
This is it. This is the only way you'll learn about the show.
Watch along with us. It's on all these platforms. You have access. Anybody can watch it for free with ads.
We'll see.
Hooray, ads.
I showed my brother. He was like probably 10 at the time. Naruto, and he's like, "Oh, this looks so old." So I don't know. People are it's gonna be like wild.
I don't know. I've been watching like old Gundam, so this is gonna be incredibly normal for me.
Familiar, yeah.
It's going to be a different style. This is like when styles were being solidified. It's also before a lot of anime tropes were solidified. So you're going to see things that like are maybe the like forerunner for some tropes later on. And sometimes the way things developed in the future are worse. Sometimes the original trope is better.
Well, I'm hoping it seems like it'll have like a good strong protagonist. So I'm excited for that.
Oh, hell yeah.
We need a more likable protagonist after coming off Chihayafuru.
I am like a little worried that I'm gonna look back at this and be like, oh, like this is how you. If this is like a more like socially progressive show from the 70s than anything that's come back,
no.
like, I'm gonna be so mad. I'm gonna be livid.
Now I'm like, oh no, is that what's gonna happen?
It might happen. This might be a really cool show. I think this has the makings of a really cool show. I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah,
maybe they don't make them like this anymore. Who knows? We'll find out.
Oh gosh.
So I'm really excited. I'm hyped for this.
Yes. So we'll see if this is like the energy we bring next episode, or if it's like things are crazy in the 70s, or
yeah.
if I'm gonna be like their hair is out of control.
Also, we are going to return to Chihayafuru. We'll watch season 2 probably after Rose of Versailles, or maybe we'll have something really short in between them or something like that. But we are going to watch the other 2 seasons of Chihayafuru, just not back to back, so it's not just like you know endlessly watching, because 75 episodes.
We did it. Kimi Chidoke, how much of that 2024 did that take, man?
It was really those season 3 hour-long episodes. Like, I know it was only 5 episodes of the podcast, but man, those were so long. It was so hard to summarize that. They were brutally long.
I'm also looking forward to like the old school, because I feel like 80s anime had pretty catchy little, because it was like very girl group anime openings at that time. So be interested to see what the
this is definitely
this is gonna look like.
The rose petals on screen show.
Rose is in the name.
Yeah, so it's gonna be like for sure. I think that's what this thing is like famous for. Yeah. So. But until then,
wrapping it up. Yes.
Man.
What did we learn?
If a child through tears tells you that he's gonna play a game until it hurts him, maybe like go buy him an ice cream cone or something. Maybe don't smile approvingly.
That's where Shinobu's ice cream could have been going to.
Yeah, if you're trying to win an ice cream contest, just throw the ice cream away. You don't have to eat it. It's fine.
How much money was... Man, that sounds expensive.
You think she wins money for being queen? There probably is like a prize, right?
I feel like... Well, they said they can get scholarships for it, so at least there's that, but that's only if you go to college.
I mean, most tournaments have like a cash prize. There's got to
be some incentive.
Yeah.
It can't be enough to be this motivating.
Yeah. Yeah, there probably is.
Yeah.
Also, Shinobu's grandma had like an extremely expensive Hakama, so I'm sure this her family's rich or whatever.
Loaded.
Yeah, they can afford all that ice cream.
All right, that's it. We're done here.
We're done.